Hey everybody, Worm the Average Controller Enjoyer here. And today I wanted to talk about a little bit of a rant, if that's what you would call it, in regards to M&K versus controller. And not specifically M&K and controller, but basically the way people act about these inputs. So this video idea came up the other day on stream because I had some people come into my chat and say, oh, I had to see if you're on controller, and oh, your controller, you're trash, blah, blah, blah. Even though I proceeded to win in the trials games I played against them. Okay, and this got me thinking about M&K and controller, and led me to make this video. So M&K versus controller. Now we all know that console typically plays controller, PC typically plays M&K, but we also know that PC supports controller play, and every now and then you have players like myself that play on controller. The reason I play on controller is because I have never used M&K, and I'm not very good on M&K. I play Minecraft on M&K, and that's about it. Okay, if I get in Destiny and try to play M&K, I get absolutely thrashed. Okay, so I just stick to controller. And I feel like having played controller since 2017, when Destiny 1, or when Destiny 2, sorry, first came out, I have substantially improved my skills in Destiny 2 and the controller environment, especially with SMGs, which is why you see me use SMGs so much in the Crucible. But every now and then you get the trolls that come in and say, oh, like, you're blah, 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 you're bad, you're trash, scrub, blah, 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 all that stuff. And number one, don't let it bother you, okay? If you play on controller or on M&K and you get people that come and trash talk your input, don't let it bother you, okay? But the important thing to note here about this issue is there is nothing about M&K versus controller that defines skill. Okay, there is nothing about playing on a controller that makes me better. There's nothing about playing on a mouse and keyboard that makes somebody else better. Okay, because we see players like Grenader Jake, he plays on controller. He plays on PC on controller, and he still smashes the house with it. Okay, you've got players like Astacross. Okay, Astacross plays M&K. I have never watched his stream, so I don't know how well he does on stream, but I have played a few games against him, and almost every single game I have played against him, he is insane with his shots, and I lose almost every gunfight with him, and he plays on M&K. Okay, you've got great players on both sides, and really the way I look at it, it's fine. It's fairly balanced, in my opinion. It is fairly balanced. M&K has no aim assistance, but it has also no recoil and very quick, and quick recentering. Okay, controller doesn't have quick recentering and has recoil, but it does have some aim assistance to help players out. And so I think there's a fair balance between the two. And really, if you look at it, it's like, I think there it's pretty balanced between the two. And like I said, with those YouTubers I talked about a second ago, they represent high-end gameplay, not based on their input, but strictly on their skill in Destiny 2. And so if when somebody comes and says, oh, you're bad because you play on M&K or you play on controller, blah, 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 I just ignore it. Okay, I ignore it because they're trolls trying to be trolls. And at the end of the day, I know that if controller is that good that they feel like, oh, it's not fair that he's playing on controller, they'll switch to controller. Or if M&K is that good, they'll switch to M&K. Okay, and I know switching to M&K is arguably a little bit harder because of my situation, right here, but I don't think it's hard to switch from M&K back to controller, especially if you played Destiny 1, because Destiny 1 you could only play on controller unless you had a certain mod or something of that nature. But of course I'm sitting here saying, oh, M&K players moan and complain, blah, blah, blah. Here's the thing. If controller players could play M&K on their consoles, I guarantee you that you would see a massive influx of controller players. Oh, M&K is busted. Why would they do that? It's unfair, blah, 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 blah. Like, it's in people's nature to blame everything but the skill that they have on on themselves. Okay, everybody likes to think that they are a god at Destiny. Okay, I'm not gonna lie, I might have a really great game and I feel like a god of Destiny, and then I get put in my place the next game. But I never blame inputs. And I think that the people who blame inputs are really, they're trying to find a reason, any reason they can, to not be the less skilled of two players. Okay, when I get in a game and I dunk on somebody with, you know, my controller gameplay, and somebody says, oh, you're on controller, blah, blah, blah. That's them trying to make themselves feel better about being outskilled, in my opinion. Because here's the thing, at the end of the day, I get outskilled by MNK players all the time. So I know that it's not MNK as an input. I know that it's not. I've played against Astacross. I've gotten beat by Astacross. I've gotten my ass kicked by Astacross on MNK, and I've gotten my ass kicked by many other players on MNK. And I'll switch up my play style and all that stuff. So okay, like maybe this, maybe try this. No. The fact is, they're just better than I am, and that's okay. It is completely reasonable that there are players who are better than you at Destiny. I've accepted that. Everybody else should too. Everybody should accept that, hey, if you're on controller and you're playing Destiny 2 and you get beat by somebody on MNK, it's probably because they're better, not because they're on controller or because they're on MNK. You know, if you're on MNK and you get beat by somebody on controller, it's because they're better. I mean, think about it. If you as a player, you know, if you consider yourself really good at the Crucible, are playing and you get matched against Grenader Jake and he plays on control and you get destroyed by Grenader Jake, are you going to blame him on being on controller, or are you going to blame it on, hey, he's literally one of the best PvP players out there? It's probably, oh, he's probably one of the best PvP players out there. That's your reason for being beat. But you come across somebody who just randomly in your lobby, you can tell they're playing on controller, or someone like me, somebody who's a little bit small time, you come into their stream and you see they're on controller, it's no longer, oh, they're better. It's, oh, you're on controller, that's why you won. And that's just, it's not the case. Okay, you can't have the double standard of, oh, well, one person is great, the other person is crutching on controller. It doesn't make sense. So yeah, that's kind of my thoughts. I just kind of wanted to make this video, rant about it a little bit here, because players need to accept responsibility when they are not performing at their peak. Okay, or they're not willing to adapt. Because that's another thing. I think so many players, they get stuck in this mindset of, oh, I'm going to use my hand cannon and my shotgun. And then you close the distance, that 10 to, 20 meter range where SMGs absolutely dominate. This is from my experience, and you dominate them. Then they get mad. Oh, you're on control. That's the only reason why you won. No, it's because you were not playing optimally. You were not playing at your extended ranges. If you would have backed up a little bit with your hand cannon, or if you would have closed in a little bit with your shotgun, you would have won. More than likely. And we've seen it thousands of times. I'm sure at some point in this gameplay, you'll see me try to engage somebody with a hand cannon outside of my SMG range, and I get dumped on. Okay? It's the fact of life. It's what happens. I'm okay with it. Okay? And I think that players also need to be okay with it. And sorry, my camera just died, but I'm going to go ahead and keep recording this video here because I don't feel like changing it. But yeah, that's the issue with MNK versus control in the argument. Again, it's not that their input is stronger or better, because if that was the case, everybody would switch to one input, right? I mean, if controller truly was better than MNK, you would see more people playing on controller on PC. And that's a fact. But with that being said, I don't know. I've kind of said all I need to about this. This is a small rant. I think the primary takeaway from this is, don't blame people's input if they're better than you. Okay? Because while there is a perfect, if there's a strong MNK build, there's a stronger controller build to counter it. And if there's a strong controller build, there's a stronger MNK build to counter it. And that is what people need to know and need to understand about this, about Destiny 2. But with that being said, yeah, that's all the thoughts I got on this. Come check us out, twitch.tv/thewormkeeper. And Y'all behave yourselves. I'll catch y'all in the next one. Bye for now.